CBS News is just out with a rather shocking response to allegations from Donald Trump and others that they engaged in some deceitful editing of Kamala Harris's interview there on 60 Minutes. I want to show you the editing in question. So there was one version, I guess, that made the preview online, and then there was another version that actually aired in the 60 Minute show, and they're rather different, okay? And so CBS is under a lot of fire right now. I mean, there's someone, a group out there saying, hey, we need an FCC investigation into this because they're really effectively carrying her water, trying to make her look better, trying to make her look smarter. Let's watch the clip. I'll show you their response.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Wow. I mean, those are really two very, very different answers. Wouldn't you agree? So everybody's like, what the heck? And 60 Minutes wants you to know. I mean, it took them like a week to come up with this. They move slow over there at 60 Minutes, okay? Really slow. You know. We're not talking any spring chickens. Anyway, former President Donald Trump is accusing 60 Minutes of deceitful editing of our October 7th interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. That is false. 60 Minutes gave an excerpt of our interview to Face the Nation that used a longer section of her answer, than that on 60 Minutes. Same question, same answer, but a different portion of the response. When we edit any interview, whether a politician, an athlete, or movie star, we strive to be clear, accurate, and on point. The portion of her answer on 60 Minutes was more succinct, which allows time for other subjects in a wide-ranging 21-minute-long segment. Remember, Mr. Trump pulled out of his interview with 60 Minutes, and the vice president participated. What's that have to do with anything? Our long-standing invitation to former President Trump remains open. If he would like to discuss the issues facing the nation in the Harris interview, we would be happy to have him on 60 Minutes. What is that? That has nothing to do with anything. I mean, the issue, 60 Minutes, is yes, that you did edit. And by the way, you just admitted it, for goodness sakes. You just admitted it. I mean, this is why it's so shocking, right? They're actually like, yeah, but that's normal. That's just how we do business. I told you guys the other day, yes, this is how they do business, except, of course, if you're Donald Trump, because if you gave a long, blabbering, awful answer, they'd really want to get the awful part in there. Jack Welch, former CEO of General Electric, God rest his soul, he told me once, I used to have him on my show, both on Bloomberg and on Fox, and he'd say, you know what, I'm only doing it live. I learned that years ago. You know what, you never do tape because they can cut it up and chop it up. I'm wondering if you learned that from a 60 Minutes interview. They cut it up and chop it up. So you sit down, you give them an hour, and they use whatever they want to use, and they splice and dice it. So they can splice and dice it to make you look better, or they can splice and dice it to make you look worse. And so in this case, they want to make her look better. Look, I get it. She's not succinct. There's tons of word salad. It's almost just nauseating to listen to her. You're like, where's she going? Where's she going with this? Uh-oh. Finally, eventually, maybe she comes back to the point. It's not entertaining along the way either. It's just a bunch of nonsense words. So Donald Trump, granted, he can take a little ride around the mulberry bush as well, but it's usually pretty entertaining before he gets back to the actual question. Actually, I would just say his problem is he actually does answer the questions. He actually answers the questions, and sometimes people don't like the answers that he provides, where she stalls, and you get more and more word salad extraordinaire. So now CBS News is defending its word salad, to which everybody's like, hey, okay, but what about the tape, the raw tape? Like, guys, why not release it? Like, why not? We live in a different world now. I mean, here I am streaming, for goodness sakes, live I mean, this is a whole different world. And so, you know, we've had a couple errors earlier in the show with the wrong tape firing. Like, this happens, right? Like, this is live, but it's authentic. It's me. It's you. I can see your comments. Careful what you write in live time. I'll get out to some of them in a bit. But in other words, this is the way of the future. And 60 Minutes, you know, you get a lot of dinosaurs over there that are probably resisting the future in their own way, and they don't adapt. And instead of putting the whole raw tape online, where I'm sure people would really enjoy watching it, they're hiding it. And they're still hiding it. I mean, they have not managed to come forward with any kind of transcript of any sort. I mean, it's actually sort of standard. Like, you offer a transcript? So they're going to have to like get out of the Stone Ages and get with the program. I think there's still going to be a lot of pressure on that network because the thinking is that they really were showing their own bias in how that thing was edited. Again, they want to edit to try and make it more succinct, but America's over that. Like, we just want to see it all, even if it ain't pretty, right? Like, you just want to see the real stuff. And that's what the Fox interview had going for it. The Fox interview was great in that sense. It really, really did a great job at just capturing everything. This cracked me up. This one came out on social media over the weekend. I'm going to show it to you because this is like a cartoon version of what happened in the Fox interview. I was dying laughing.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Brad.
Thank you.
We'll see how this goes for you.
Mrs. Harris, how many people do you believe have crossed the border since... Miss Harris. Kamala, please. Mrs. Vice President, it's a simple question.
I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm speaking.
I apologize. All right, well, I'm just gonna say it. She destroyed him! Oh my gosh! Right? Oh golly, he's so embarrassed. I bet those Republicans are regretting that one. Kamala! Kamala! Kamala!
Oh my gosh. Isn't that kind of just what happened? Anyway, look, CBS could learn from Fox. Fox, at least, is part of the modern generation in that it's cable, at least, although cable is still, as you've heard me say, extremely stilted compared to what we're doing here. So this is like, you know, full-on authenticity. And cable is some version of that. But 60 Minutes is micromanaged, packaged candidates, packaged actors, packaged everything. When I worked there, I mean, you know, I was on the CBS Evening News, and you'd get a minute 10, maybe minute 20. Really, really great if you could get a minute 30. Imagine trying to explain like GDP in a minute 30. Good luck. Anyway, I learned a lot in terms of synthesizing it really quickly. Now you get to see it all. But anyway, the point just being that every single word was really thought about and micromanaged. And that's the world in which they're living. And so they think it's perfectly normal to edit and re-edit and take out for time the word salad that is Kamala Harris. I don't think they would have done that to Sarah Palin. Remember Katie Couric and Sarah Palin? I mean, she was fully exposed. But they're doing it for the candidates they want, and that's what America is not okay with. America and Americans deserve more, and we want more. And guess what? We can get it, which is why you need to remember to subscribe to this channel. As I said, I am here live every single day. We just have a few days to go, really, until this election, and this is going to be really critical. There's much, much more to come even after, and I'll be here every day with you. This is, we were talking about Grand Canyon University earlier, one of our new sponsors here on the program, and it is a passion, right? And I think that work should be a passion. So I'm here, whether you want me or not, guys. And you know what? Sometimes you'll agree with me. Sometimes you won't agree with me. Sometimes, I've called out Trump. I think he's terrific, but there are things that he does that sometimes I'm like, okay, you know what? You got to scale this one back. Or, for example, you want to be cautious on the economy. You want to be cautious on printing money, which they did a lot of. Remember, in August 2020, the first interest rate cut came along, and then another interest rate cut, and before you knew it, we were getting multiple checks as well, right? The stimmy money, stimmy.